been asked by several of my subscribers to make another video regarding the 9/11 events, the collapsing of the towers, this despicable act of major proportions, which has changed essentially our national discourse from that point on. You know, all I can say at this point is this. My questions regarding that event have not been answered. Certainly the 9/11 investigation, which went via Congress, didn't answer any pertinent questions. It actually left some very important question out of that investigation. So no, my curiosity regarding this incident has not exactly died down. All I can tell you is I do believe that the truth movement, the so-called truth movement, was probably infiltrated or somehow submerged into the kind of discourse which the elites would love to have, and that doesn't bring us it doesn't get us anywhere. You know, it's not going to bring about the answers. This whole thing is going to go like the JFK investigation on. And if you still believe that, you know, John F. Kennedy or his brother were victims to some lonely gunman, you know, be my guest. No sensible person can actually believe that anymore, even though it has never been proven. But rest assured, you know, there are fake conspiracies and there are real conspiracies. They go on all the time, and you know, I don't know. To me, it seems there are just so many coincidences involving this tragedy of 9/11, which went on immediately before, during, and after, which simply have not been answered to probably anybody's satisfaction. And so that's basically my comment today. To me, it seems rather implausible that, for one thing, somebody with very little training, perhaps a few sim lessons in an aircraft simulator, can fly a heavy plane like a 737 jet at a very low altitude, directly pointed towards the Pentagon, you know, one of the most highly defended structures in U.S. government, without a hitch. It seems fairly implausible to me. I mean, it could happen by accident, I suppose. The plausibility is probably, I would say, you know, maybe 1 in 100,000. So that somebody with very little training can pull this off. These are, from what I understand, fairly heavy aircraft. And you can't just fly them close to the ground without knowing what you're doing. Anyone who's watched any kind of aircraft videos, I suppose, I'm not talking about fighter jets crashing into walls, I'm talking about civilian aircraft. It would be pretty hard to pull that off, considering that you have to fly pretty low and for several minutes. And the drag, the weight of that aircraft, not knowing what you're doing, is probably pretty heavy even without any crosswinds or adverse conditions of any kind. So unless you've had that kind of an experience repeatedly, at least in simulation, it would be pure luck to pull this off. Not to mention the disappearing videos. I mean, the Pentagon has to have videos, cameras installed all over the place, and if they don't, then they are truly incompetent. You know, they are truly incompetent. So I don't have the answers to any of this. I really don't. All I know is that the answers I've gotten so far are not satisfactory. I'm not a conspiracy nut, or, you know, and some of these people who have come on regarding voicing their opinions, even philosophers, theologians, and so on, they don't have the know-how to actually present physical evidence. However, some of these people look beyond just the blatant explanations which are being put forth in the mainstream media. They can see beyond the games, and it doesn't necessarily prove they're right, but there is some truth to the notion that once you start seeing the bigger picture, it's probably not what it seems to most people. So yes, I would support a continuing investigation of this incident, but I'm afraid it's not going to happen. And whatever comes out of it, you know, is probably too late at this point, because the physical evidence, I can assure you, has already been destroyed, just like the tapes at the CIA. And for some reason, you know, this janitor from the building, that the video that Jacques-Luc Ford just posted, seems far more credible to me than Cheney being trotted out on television, national television, saying that he has the answer to our problems, and this is why things went down, and this is how this and this happened, and the stories just don't match up. Eyewitness accounts are always have to be taken with a grain of salt. I can tell you this from my own experience, because after a certain amount of time, your memory becomes less and less sure of what you've seen, and it becomes somewhat intertwined with the opinions of others. But, you know, some of these people said this immediately after these incidents, and they stuck by their story. And I guess, you know, somebody who's a janitor sweeping floors and doing maintenance in a building evidently has no credibility whatsoever with the mainstream media or any pundits out there. I would probably trust the EMT guys, a person like that, the firefighters and so on, which all of whom got this information out there from the very beginning, far more than our political entities at the top. And those trying to make scientific evidence available while basically shoving other scientific evidence totally under the table. I'm a believer in science, you know. I'm not a moron, but you have to see both sides of that science, and we haven't seen that yet. Anyway, later.